We are the Crayons Network, India's largest independent ad agency founded in 1986. We do, well, everything. And we've got some big brains behind us. From founder, managing director and man of many talents, Kunal Lalani, and our crack team of leaders. We have worked with brands you are sure to recognize. We make spectacular films. We shake up the world of print. You will see us in the digital world. We are never one to miss a big event. And we love to make our mark in the outdoors. To put it briefly, there's nothing we can't do. So what's next? Easy. We become the largest independent disruptive ad tech agency in the continent. Dive into the metaverse, starting with investing in film production and animation studios, so we can use tech-driven communication solutions across verticals to disrupt. We also aim to build our own tool. So there you have it, a look at the past and present of Crayons, as well as the future that could be, with you on our side.
Welcome friends, this is Avinash and I welcome all of you again to another series of face-to-face series with emerging corporates, where we discuss their growth plans, their business outlook, and where we make you meet the top management team of these companies. And today, friends, we have got a very interesting company by the name of Crayons Advertising Ltd. And we have the privilege of having Mr. Kunal Lalani, the managing director of the company. Kunalji, welcome to the show, and thank you very much for sparing your valuable time.
Thank you, Avinash. It's really a pleasure to interact with you.
Yeah. So Kunalji, starting with my first question to you, is that, if you could share with us some part of your business journey, how did you actually start this business? And today, what is the kind of positioning Crayon Advertising enjoys in the industry? And if you can tell us what is the management profile, what is the profile of the management team members of your company, and something briefly about your company's business model. So if you can add some color on these points, and we can make a beginning.
Absolutely. So, Avinashi, the journey started in 1986. I come from a Marwadi business family, and I just somehow never wanted to join my family business, which is into manufacturing and automotive components and plastics. So I decided that I should do something which is more in line with what I am comfortable with. And service industry was something I thought I was, or a marketing servicing job is something I thought I was much better at. So I have no formal education in advertising, or I've not done any courses, but purely on gut feel and on experience, I was able to pick up this particular industry. So we started in 86. The differentiator that I created that time was eventually virtually all the agencies in the country, advertising agencies of significance, were all Bombay based, because Bombay was the financial hub and also the consumer product hub at that point of time in the 80s. I felt in Delhi, maybe I was a Delhi based businessman, or I was a Delhi based entrepreneur, and I felt Delhi is going to grow majorly. Delhi was still a sleepy town in the late 80s. And I guess that has now come true. Delhi is equally a big market, or rather, in some areas of advertising, Delhi is a bigger market than Bombay. Going forward, obviously, we started and we evolved over the years. We were a traditional agency dealing into, at that time, print medium was the only media which was very big. Television had just about was looking at maybe the best program at that time, which should be called Krishi Darshan on Doordarshan. There was really not much happening on television. It happened much later in the 90s. Early 90s or late 90s is when it began. So that's where it was. Over the years, we grew not only in terms of our expertise or our areas of activity, but obviously we also increased our footprint all over the country. And as we speak today, we are in the major cities of India, that is Delhi, Bombay, Calcutta, Chennai, Lucknow. And we also went overseas in the last 15 years. Currently, of course, we don't have those overseas operations because of COVID. We just probably got a bit conservative, but we did explore and we did very well over there also for some years that we were working there. What our model is, business model is, well, over a period of time from the 80s, late 80s, when the multinationals came into the country, they actually segregated the whole business from a full service agency, which is how it used to work in the 90s till the late 90s, was full service, one agency doing everything for the client. The multinationals came and segregated the whole thing. They split it up. So creative was separate, media was separate, outdoor was separate, event was separate, strategy was separate, everything went into separate, digital was separate. However, we realized that what are key strengths over the years, we did also move into that area, and then we've come back, and we are actually a one-stop shop, and we provide all services to our client depending on what their need is. And our essential clientele will remain with the word Bharat, which means either owner-owned or truly Indian companies. And I would believe that's a large market, very, very large market, equally large as the multinationals, because we are really in that Make in India concept right now, and that's where we feel growth is going to be enough for us.
So basically, you said you started with a little experience, but now you have become a very prominent name. Kunalji, can you tell me, currently as of FY22, what is the biggest revenue contributor? You could give us a small revenue breakup as to which segment of the industry actually caters to a large percentage of your revenues. If you could give us some color on that.
See, here I'd like to, give you the real updation. See, pre-COVID, the model was very different. Post-COVID, technically 21-22 is the first year which is coming to play. And then 21-22 was also a very struggling year. And then came 22-23, which is on right now. So I can give you broad parameters because this is going to get defined over the next couple of years. But largely, what has happened is that digital has come in the forefront, which it wasn't there. Today, if we were to look at our gross revenue, digital is about 25%, 24% rather. Media commissions or media revenue is about another 20+%. And I would put retainership, project fees, and other activities that we do. That would be about 50+%.
And Kunalji, going forward now, since you have spoken about digital, kind of the digital market, if you could tell us how big is the digital market opportunity within the advertising market space, and what are the plans for Crayons in this vertical? I mean, do you expect that in the next, say, 2 to 3 years, digital will find increasingly larger space in your revenue pie?
Absolutely, absolutely. So while a whole lot of bad things happened in COVID, some good things also happened. And one of the good things is the whole, let's say, the whole environment, the marketing environment of this country, of various industries. Everybody realized that now digital is going to be a real serious activity or a real serious piece of the pie. And really, I think that COVID time gave all of us enough time to realize and maybe restructure ourselves, because businesses had really gone to an all-time low. And that's exactly what we did at Crayons also. And we moved from being a traditional, typical agency. We thought this is the right time to take the diversion. And we started investing into digital, creating our own resources, creating our own expertise. And I do feel that coming years, I see digital, at least in our setup, from 24%, we're quite certain that in 2 to 3 years, we should be above 45%.
Okay.
We should reach at least 45% on the revenue part.
Okay. Kunalji, now a little financial related question. Now, since you mentioned that 24-25% digital revenue would become about 40-45% in the next 3 years. Now, in terms of profitability margin, is the digital advertising business more remunerative in terms of profitability, or is the normal advertising market? So in your sense, which could be a little more profitable from the financial aspect side, if you could tell us?
Well, honestly, obviously digital is the new domain area. So obviously it's got a lot more for people to learn and understand, and definitely it's more profitable because digital is very focused and very delivery oriented, unlike non-digital or conventional business. Now, when that is there, and if you have good talent and you have a good understanding of the products, you are able to deliver to the client what his needs are, and you get paid well for it. So largely, the margins will be much higher in digital compared to traditional business. Only the volumes of traditional are much higher versus the volume of the digital business now. But they are going to keep growing. That's how it's going to be.
Now, Kunalji, coming back to your customer base, both from the non-digital as well as from the digital, kind of product baskets, if you could share some of the clients which you all have done some advertising campaigns, if you could just tell us some of the few prominent campaigns where, Crayons has done a pretty good kind of job. So some names, if you could share for our viewers.
Well, so we worked, obviously we are now 36 years old, and so there are enough, at least in our kitty, we work with all types of clients and all big, I would say big industries, big brands, virtually everywhere we've been. And we're talking of the Indian or the Bharat clients, So when I say Bharat, means either public sector or into the private owner-owned domain. So some of the notable ones we've been have worked or are working with Life Insurance Corporation, State Bank of India, currently in the BFSI, we are even today doing Bank of Baroda, Bank of India, Indian Bank, amongst some banks. We do a lot of work in tourism, which we have done with Kerala for at least 9-10 years. We work with Kerala tourism. We now work with Goa tourism. We work with MP tourism. We work with Uttarakhand tourism. And at various times, we work with maybe Himachal tourism, Rajasthan tourism. So we have the experience or necessary expertise. So we are able to get into that Ministry of Tourism, which is the Incredible India part. At times, sporadically, we do keep working with them. Besides this, there's a lot of work we have done in private sector companies like Fortis. Their initial launch to the time they were sold out to a new group, Fortis was handled by us completely, all India. We've handled Tata, quite a bit of work over Tata Motors at various times. We currently work with Kajaria Ceramics, Kajaria Ply, Kajaria, the whole range of products that they have. We are now currently also working with APL Apollo Steel Tubes.
Okay.
We are working with Indian Oil or have worked with HPCL on the oil marketing companies. So like that, there would be dozens. And I'm not even talking of the international brands that have come to India, from B&O to Fitbit to various brands. We have worked over there also.
Oh, fine.
So, I mean, the list is endless. I can only tell you that all brands, all industry leading companies in the top 2-3, we have worked with virtually every industry.
I think that's very good. I think Kunalji, you explained us really in detail on this aspect. Kunalji, tell me one thing that, how much is your repeat business? Like in this business, if I were to ask you that, is repeat business a normal kind of feature? Or do you get a lot of new clients also? Like, what has been the trend in the last, say, 12, 15 months? How has this trend been seen? Like, rather it is more of repeat business or some new originated client, from your marketing kind of teams?
No, so see, Avinash, the success of this business lies in the relationship building that you have to do with your client. Clients do not like to change anywhere. You will understand that in any industry, clients like to have the same set of vendors or same set of people they work with when they are also looking at growth. Nobody likes to change the team which is successful. Same is even with advertising agencies, and that is the true test actually. So there we feel that that's one of the reasons that we have been successful, is we built relationships. And we've had clients from, as I told you, I mean, from average life of a client comes to us. Besides government has its own tendering process. So you cannot always guarantee whether you're doing the best work for them. But in the private side, our general minimum size is 7 to 8 years we are able to work with the client. Okay. And there are a lot of clients we are working with. Kajaria, I think it's been more than 15 years. Kohinoor, Basmati, if you recall, that brand used to be there. We worked for more than 15 years till it got sold to an American company. The Tulsi Baba chewing tobacco, catch, salt, we did work for about 15 years. Then advertising got banned and gutka was not allowed and all that. So all other various reasons that it stops. But then it's a different matter. Also, there is a fatigue. So when you cross that 10, 11, 12 years period, then there is a fatigue which comes in between both the organizations. Okay. Probably there are changes in the marketing department on the client side, and then they say, okay, let's look at something fresh. And even at your end, you feel, no, now, you've done enough of rice, or you've done enough of this. Let's go and try something new or get some fresh. Your creative team gets a bit bored and does not start, gets saturated actually.
But this is definitely a very valid reason, Kunalji. Tell me one thing, Kunalji, on an average, every year, if I were to ask you that, what has been the average inflow of new clients? Like, this is a very big market. That is point number one. And secondly, in your assessment, the non-digital advertising market in India, what could be the opportunity size, for a player like you over the next, say, 3 to 5 years? What could be the size where, you could say that, our business could expand significantly? So, thoda bahut, if you can tell us on the opportunity market size, and clearly, what has been the inflow of new clients, into the company's kitty like.
So, as I said earlier, we strongly believe that this Make in India concept is really going to work, and it is growing. And as we see all around us in the last 3 to 4 months, we've just seen complete buoyancy. We are dealing with multiple industries and various private brands as well as public sector brands also, and we see everybody is on the move to expand. So therefore, the opportunity is really like never before. We strongly believe that 23, 24 and 24, 25 are India's years, and the growth is going to be phenomenal. There is no reason why there should be any concern of what's being talked about on the international and the global level. India is not going to be affected by it. So we see that as a very, very strong positive this thing. As far as Crayons is concerned, we are confident and we are quite strongly there that we will double our revenue in 3 years' time. 25, 26, we are almost certain we would have doubled our revenue. Okay. So that's where we see it. Also, advertising, if you realize, opportunities are increasing with this OTT, other digital platforms coming into play. There is going to be an opportunity in the country of how even the smallest of towns will become thriving business hubs. And their only way of communicating is going to be digital. So digital overall is going to grow tremendously.
Okay, fine. Kunalji, now one more thing which I wanted to ask you is that you said that clients like to maintain the same team, and so there is a lot of continuity in this business. Especially Crayons has got 7 to 8 years longevity with all of their clients. Now, since you said it's a customized kind of business where you understand the client's needs and then you evolve advertising strategies. Now, tell me one thing: what is the most important competitive moat in your business? And how sustainable is this going to be over the next, say, 3 to 4 years? Since this is a service business, what exactly do you bring on the table for the customer, and what are the client's expectations from you, which hopefully you always deliver excellently and in a very cost conscious way? So if you can just pinpoint 2, 3 areas which could help our viewers.
Sure, sure. So see, it comes from the premise we have to understand how do you consider yourself. So our objective, or this is how we've always looked at that when we do sign a client or we get attached to a client, we must start looking at it as we must look at ourselves as an extension of their marketing team. We are like an extension arm of the marketing team. The day we do that, then we are like, you're already integrated into their system and they understand you well and you understand. It's all about understanding between the two teams. And if finally you form a good team between the two companies, that leads to effective and profitable advertising, which is what we are supposed to be delivering. And so that is why the longevity also comes in between both the companies, and the client is concerned about it. And obviously, the more important part being that I have to buy value for money. If I'm providing services to my client, he must value that service for much higher than what I'm making him spend, or we are making him spend. So those become the key differentiators. As long as you build that relationship and you deliver effectively, I'm not talking of creatively only, it has to be effective. It may look good, but if it doesn't become effective, it's of no use. So therefore, we have to be all the time on our toes to be suggesting such strategies which would be making their growth, because they are not advertising for personal benefit or some name and fame. It's all about revenue and sales. As long as that goes in the right direction, everybody's happy in the take.
Oh, fine. I think Kunalji very well said. Kunalji, now tell me one thing, that in this advertising business, since it's not a very asset heavy business, it's more of a working capital business. Now, what is your normal working capital cycle? Like typically, in how many months does the customer pay up? Typically, if you can give us some average numbers, if you could highlight that.
So normally, if I were to take a 10-year window, it was a different thing, but COVID disrupted the whole payment or the credit in the payment cycle, and from there to come out has been a slow process. So typically, general time is about 90 days to 100 days is what we look at as a credit period with the clients. That the average payout comes in about 90 to 100 days. However, post-COVID, in COVID times, it went up to more than 150, 175 days. Now we've been able to bring it down. So currently we are looking at about 120 days is what the average period is. And we have every intention that over the next 6 months, we should be able to bring it down. With all businesses and clients getting more, cash flow getting freer, they should be able to reduce that to us. And we need to come back into the 90 days window.
Okay. Kunalji, one thing which I was seeing your presentation, you have done a lot of government business also, typically government accounts also. So typically, if one were to compare the private clients and the government clients, is the working capital cycle more or less the same, or does the government take a little longer in giving you money? Typically the cycle is slightly higher on the government side. So is it like that? I mean, the private customers do pay you a little better compared to the government companies?
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. The private customers. So that's why I've given you that window of 120, 120 days, because private clients do tend to pay a bit earlier. Okay. And government clients, because of processes and the systems, not because they don't have the money, but there is a time lag that keeps happening. Officers are not there, approvals don't come, like that. So they do take a little longer time. So I would put a difference of at least 30 days between the two.
Okay. Now, Kunalji, coming to your company's initial public offer, the IPO, if you could share with us some details as to what is the size of the offer, what is the objective of this public issue, and broadly, how much money are you going to raise from the public? If you could share some details for us.
So currently, how it's planned, and I hope that's how it goes through. We are looking at right now issuing fresh shares. So it's a completely fresh share proposal. About 63 lakh 40,000 shares it will be offered in the market, and the total we are trying to raise would be anywhere between 42 to 45 crores. I don't have the exact figures. That will be decided once the approval comes and depending on the market conditions. But we're looking at about 42 to 45 crores we are going to raise. And out of this, I guess, maybe in your next question, I'll be able to answer the rest of this.
Yeah, I think basically, Kunalji, I was asking you that broadly this 40-45 crores which we are planning to raise, what is it going to be used? Like, is it going to be for fresh investments you want to make in infrastructure, in people, or you want to basically also use some part of the money for working capital? If you could tell us the broad usage of these funds.
So yes, there's multiple, of course, fresh investment in terms of expansion of our services, resources, hiring more people, that part is there. Working capital, of course, also will be one part, but more important is our most important part is going to be the technology. We are trying to move ourselves from where we are today, where we are quite digital savvy, to move to an ad tech, completely convert this company into an ad tech company in the next 3 years.
Okay.
Which means technology playing a very important role in every aspect of our business, and also providing much more efficient services to our clients, and also creating certain other aspects of the business, the technology business in-house, not depending on outsiders. So therefore, that is where the investment, substantial investment will go.
So basically, a lot of money is going to go on basically, elements like artificial intelligence, machine learning, which will actually help you data mine data more properly.
Also into production. Now, video has become the norm of the day. Anything and everywhere, video is the smallest thing is a video, whether it's on Instagram to Facebook to anywhere. There's no more still photos are not anymore the fashion. So because video is increasing in every aspect, and the best way to communicate, so production of videos, 3D or animation, all this needs to be at a much larger level, and that has to be in-house. So production, that part will also come into play then.
Kunalji, one aspect which I saw in your prospectus and presentation, very interesting, is that you want to actually do a lot of work on the meta, which is the metaverse. So if you could share with us, what exactly is the company planning to do? If you could just share some kind of thought process, what is the company's plans to do work on metaverse? Because that is something which is very interesting, and we have not heard many advertising agencies talk about it. So probably you are the first ones.
Yeah, well, honestly, the point is that that's a very exciting area. So for me, at this point of time, to give you any precise, vision on that is going to happen, because it's still evolving. Meta is something which is still really evolving, and we really don't know how fast and where it's going to go. It's just like the AI part. Every month is moving in a direction where we really learn of new aspects which we were not aware of. So I guess it would not be, I won't be able to give you a very accurate answer on this, but yes, that's the area which is going to grow phenomenally in the next couple of years, and will create new opportunities over there.
Fine, understood. I think well answered. I think Kunalji, now on the balance sheet side, if you could tell us what is the total leverage on the balance sheet in terms of secured, unsecured loans, what is the kind of debt the company carries as of date? If you could give us those details.
So currently, the debt part, I guess I'm not. I think just a second. I'll just double check and tell you. So as on date, we just have a bank limit. The only liability side, if you were to look at, is about, we have a working capital of about 10 crores, and maybe some car loans, etc., which may be another maybe 1 crore maximum. We don't have much on the. There's not much.
I think, Kunalji, what I wanted to understand is, now after this IPO where you raise in about 45 crores, will the company, think of maintaining its debt or reducing its debt, as far as possible, will it try to use minimum debt and focus more on its internal cash flows and the IPO money?
Absolutely. Our objective is to completely, get rid or finish the debt by the end of 23-24 financial year.
Okay. Fine. And one more thing which I wanted to understand is that, for most analyst community, in fact, Kunalji, what we see is your operating cash flows, we see your ROE, return on equity, return on capital employed. So, since yours is a service-oriented business, it's an asset-light business. Every incremental revenue kind of rupee growth which you record, I think that generates a, incremental ROI, which is much more significant. So going forward, can we expect that this return on capital employed and return on equity would continue to be in healthy double digits for you, even post IPO?
Absolutely. So let me share with you, in the first half of financial year 22-23, our ROCE has been 38% and our ROE has been 14%.
Okay.
Okay. And we are very confident we are only going to be improving it, if not maintaining it. Going lower is not in our target at all.
Okay. And Kunalji, one another bookkeeping question is that out of your total cost, which is the most prominent cost in your total expense kind of basket? Like, is it the employee cost, or is it the infrastructure cost? What could be the main cost for you in terms of generating the revenue what you provide as a service to the customer? Because you are not a manufacturing company, so typically सबसे बड़ा cost कौन सा होगा आपके expense basket?
So सबसे बड़ा देखो, service industry, the resource, the manpower, the talent cost is the biggest cost that we have.
Exactly.
And that's what is the differentiator between one company to another company. What kind of talent you're able to put together, and that's the team which works.
Exactly.
That's how it is. So creative people, and this is a creative business. So the services itself are not identifiable by value, but it's all by quality.
Exactly. I think I was coming to this question. I wanted to ask you one more question related to this. Kunalji, you have been now the founder, the managing director of the company. How have you been able to manage to attract good talent on board and nurture them? Because ultimately it's all about nurturing the right person, the right team. So what is the secret of this? What exactly is something which you give and which you have managed to convince people to stick with you, work as a team, and obviously that helps you to deliver better service to your clients?
Well, typically, this is one of the biggest challenges any organization in any form, whether service or manufacturing or anywhere, finds this as a challenge. So I guess every entrepreneur or every founder tries to employ his own methodology. And I guess my methodology would have also been similar to what most of the highly successful people have done. I must have taken out some learning from or leaves from them. So the whole idea is you build it block by block. If you expect overnight or just by hiring 2-3 brilliant people, it's going to happen. No, it's a teamwork, and you need to build it block by block. And I guess it's taken me some years, and also it has had its pitfalls. Sometimes poaching happens, big time poaching by the bigger competitors come and knock you out completely. That does happen, but then over a period of time, it's the kind of empowerment you give, kind of independence you give. And also you have to take a step back as the founder. You cannot be, interfering with their creative abilities or trying to supersede their thoughts. So I guess it's a process, and it's a block by block building. So we've taken some years, and we are very proud that we've got one of the finest teams right now in the business.
No, fine. I think Kunalji very well answered. I think this is one of the biggest challenges, in a service industry, which I do appreciate. My last question, Kunalji, today is that now, since the IPO is planned very soon, so what could be your message to the prospective investors? How could you plan to reward them over the longer term? Because equity is a long-term asset, and your company has a very strong financial track record, a very strong market share, a very good client list. So in that perspective, when you go public, you would have a responsibility to an external shareholder. So broadly, what could be your thought process on how you would be rewarding these investors in their long-term wealth creation process?
See, the one major point that we are tom-tomming right now is that post the IPO, we are going to immediately put into motion the expansion plan. And when we are saying we are very confident to double the revenue within the third financial year, that's 25-26. So that obviously will bring much higher value creation for the investors or potential investors. And also, obviously, we feel that because there's going to be a lot more of high-tech businesses that we are going to get into, it also will lead to us being a more visible product, being a visible company, which will also add value to the investors in terms of the share return that they get. So I guess that would be one of the large ways of taking care of our investors who are coming in. Also, for the industry, overall for the market, I feel it's high time the SME sector woke up and decided to take this route, because COVID has taught us that all time trying to do debt only is not a good idea. It should be a good mix of debt and equity. So what if you lose some part of your company, but the point is that you're in a much better and healthy environment, and you're more accountable. So makes it more professional, and you can run your company or let your company run more professionally than at that point of time.
So anyway, I think Kunalji, thank you very much for your valuable time today. I think viewers, we have got a very productive kind of session today, and I hope all of you enjoyed. So if you like the video, please like and share it. And Kunalji, once again, thank you very much, and best wishes for your IPO and best wishes for all your team members. Thank you.
Thank you, Avinashji. Thank you so much for taking out time and having a discussion with us. Thank you once again.